you'll end up alone just like you were before, just alone with someone. And that's worse. Because then you're like, I'm with the person that I believed that I'm supposed to be with to complete me, and I'm not fucking complete. Hello. Me again. You surprised? It's the Jesse Dawson podcast. Welcome back to another episode. Some more content, some more stuff, some more nonsense, some more drivel, and maybe a couple of nuggets of gold in there as well. Okay, we're going to be talking about an interesting topic. It came to me. Well, I climbed a mountain one time and the clouds opened and a messenger bird flew down and delivered me a note. It was written on the note. That was rubbish. I did not do that. It just came to me. A friend of mine, more than one friend of mine, a bunch of friends of mine, and people in general, and clients, and everybody I seem to know, well, not everyone, that's a bit of an overstep. A lot of people, and a few people in particular in my world, are serial relationshipists. And what I mean by that is they get out of a relationship and a week later, 2 weeks, bang, they're in another one. They're out of that one, they're in another one. They're out of that one, they're in another one. They're out of that one, they're in another one. They're out of that one, they're in another one. They get out of that one and they say, that's it, I'm taking some time for me. A week later, they're in another one. You know who you are. You know who you are. I'm going to take some time for me. I'm going to spend a year. I'm going to spend 2 years. At least 6 months. At least 6 months alone. I'm going to be by myself. I'm going to work on me. Next week, snap. My partner has said this thing to me. I'm like, wait. Didn't you just say 6 months you were going to be alone? And now I see you in a snap and you're with some guy or you're with some girl or whichever way you go. What's going on? Oh, well, we just hit it off. No. You said you were going to be alone and work on yourself. You're just repeating the pattern. You're repeating the pattern again and again and again and again and again and again. So I think I aptly named this podcast, if I'm with someone all the time, I'll never be alone ever again. Lies. You'll be more alone than you've ever been in your life. So, deep one today. This one, comes from me watching my friends and the people around me and my clients repeatedly repeat this same pattern of chasing this plug to plug their emptiness and trying to get their needs met through other people. And then saying, oh yes, I'm going to do the work, and then not doing the work and ending up in another relationship trying to plug the hole again. So, let's take a step back. What is the pattern of being in relationships and being a serial relationshipist? It's a technical term, scientific. It's in the papers. It's in the psychology papers. Search it up. You'll see. The pattern is when we're younger, we grow up and we have we're fulfilled. We are a whole individual when we were born. We don't come to this world broken or missing pieces or misplacing resources. We're full and we're whole. And then as we grow up, we lose pieces and suppress bits, and we don't necessarily lose them. We just put them away and don't remember where we put them. But we're whole. And then we become a portion of ourselves. We suppress and deny and shut off things. And before you know it, you're 5% of who you were born to be. 10%, 20, 50, 80, right? No one's ever perfect because no one's perfect. And then we try and look for the thing that we don't have in other people. So we try and get our needs met through other things and other people and other activities. So that's where addictions come from, and abuse and really toxic relationships and obsessions with things and that kind of thing. We're trying to fill the void. That's a whole conversation, that one there. So relationships are no different. And with all of the media and movies and songs and everything that we hear about becoming whole and you complete me, and then having the Disney story of being worthless and then being saved and all this stuff by a partner, we end up perpetuating this pattern in our world like indefinitely unless we change something. So that's where this pattern comes from, and it comes from trying to fill the spots in us that we have empty, and we find someone that displays those traits that are suppressed in us. So let's say stereotypical like self-focused versus the others-focused person. The others-focused person, which is most people that would watch this kind of content, by the way, they would look out and see somebody that's able to take care of themselves and share their opinion and be certain and come across as strong and very aware of what they want. And an others-focused person has spent their whole life up to this point, wherever it is, focusing on other people's needs and putting other people before themselves and being needed in places and wanted in areas and using their energy for other people and not for themselves. And then this person comes along that's opinionated and certain in themselves and knows what they want and will state what they want and will take what they want and puts their needs first. That's an admirable quality or trait that the others-focused person sees and desires, because they don't have it. They don't have that piece because they're suppressed in themselves, or they're not allowing themselves to take it because they think it's selfish, or whatever it is. And they go, oh, that's attractive because that's what I'm missing. But you're not missing it. What I just said, you're not missing it. But you think you're missing it. You're like, oh, that makes me feel good because that's the bit that I'm chasing. I'm chasing in my life. I'm chasing that part. And this person comes along and they're like, oh, this person fills that spot in me. Like I feel like I'm very attracted. That's great. And then you get together and you find out that person can't actually fulfill your needs, and they're not actually that great of a person because they're quite the opposite of you, and that they don't know how to give to anybody or take care of anybody else except themselves, and then you end up clashing, and then or you stay together miserably forever. And that's what I mean by you'll be alone. If you end up perpetuating that pattern, you'll end up alone just like you were before, just alone with someone. And that's worse. Because then you're like, I'm with the person that I believe that I'm supposed to be with to complete me, and I'm not fucking complete. So what is wrong with me? And it makes it worse. So, or it opens up the door for progression, one of the two. Right? So that's the pattern, and that's where it comes from, and that's why it happens when you have serial relationshipists. And the problem is that they think it is, or people in general with addiction and with relationships and all things, they think that the next one's going to be different to this one. It's like, oh, well, I learned from this one, so this one's the next one. And you go and chase the same thing, and then you go and chase the same thing, and that might look different, or you go, oh, it wasn't that, so I'll chase the complete opposite thing, which in the end is actually the same pattern, it's just wrapped in a different box. Because if you're avoiding it, it's just as much energy is going into it as if you were chasing it, so you end up having the exact same problem, even though the person's doing the exact opposite traits and that kind of thing. So my point being, it'll perpetuate forever and ever and ever and ever. And you'll always be alone, and you'll always die unless you do the work inside. Unless you do the work and you step out of a relationship and say, you know what, I'm sick and tired of jumping between person, and just continuously being heartbroken and continuously being in pain and not getting anywhere in terms of a relationship, or a stable relationship at least, the one that's going to last the time, and the test of time, and do the work. So you need to start asking yourself, okay, well, what is it in the other people that I'm seeing that I'm attracted to that I'm not giving myself? Because you're the only person that can complete you. The person that you're chasing and the illusion that they're going to complete you is just that, an illusion. They cannot completely complete you because they're not even complete themselves. They can't give you what they have. And even if they tried, you'd suppress it. So you need to do the work. You need to look in here. You need to get into your head, sit down and say, okay, so what is it that I find attractive about all of my previous partners? What were the attractive parts in the beginning? And write them down. Find out what it is. Is it that they were super caring and could listen to you and you could be heard and you felt like there was that connection? Or was it that they stood up for what they wanted and they were able to easily assert themselves and say no to things? Maybe it was that. And then say, okay, well, why can't I do that? I can do that. And and then try it and find out you can't because you suppressed it. Figure it out and then sit with it and say, okay, so where does this come from? And it might go all the way back to when you were 4 years old, and that you suppressed these emotions, and that's what's missing. So the idea that if you're with someone you'll never be alone is a joke. It's not the case. Two people don't come together to be whole. Two whole people come together to be the next level, to have a deeper relationship, to experience more of life, not to complete themselves. If you're doing anything to complete you, there's something there that needs to be addressed. Like, sure, you can get we have needs. We fulfill needs. So certainty in Tony Robbins' 6 core needs: uncertainty or variety, adventure, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. Right, and then our own personal needs that are even outside of those. Feeling connected by when I'm being heard, or in a relationship I have to have humour, or all those things. Right, they all stem back to the same stuff. And if those needs get met, but if you're trying to complete yourself with getting rich, or by running away from something with drug abuse, gambling, sex abuse, love and connection, like relationship abuse, which this kind of is, then there's something more to the pattern than you just haven't found the right one. Because one, you haven't found the right one, but mainly because it's a reflection of you. So you will be alone unless you do something about it, unless you do the work and become, let's go deeper, right? So all of that I just rambled on, kind of circled around a couple of times. Trust you got it. The only way to not be alone is to be okay with being alone. Oh, crazy. Sounds fucking stupid, right? It does sound stupid. So you have to be present with yourself. You've got to be present with you and love you and know who you are. You've got to spend time with yourself alone. Or, if you're the other way around and you're too self-focused, you need to start giving to people. You need to start, stop focusing on yourself and, push it out there. But most people need to just be with themselves and do the work, as I said before, and figure it out. Figure out that part within you, that being alone is okay. Being alone is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, I'd rather be alone than be stuck in some miserable relationship that I'm trying to force into my life because I feel like I'm not complete. Because that's way more miserable. That sounds way more icky and disgusting than the relationship that I have to earn. Because of course you have to earn a relationship. It's not easy. You don't just find a relationship like, oh, she was my perfect partner. Very rare if it does happen. And they end up usually being the perfect partner because you're able to grow together, complete yourselves and grow into more evolved people, more evolved beings. So start sitting with yourself. Start meditate, write in a diary. Find out these things, where these feelings stem from. Why do you feel alone? What reason? What reason do I feel alone? And what does that mean for me? Who does that make me? What is my identity as this person? And then find that out. Because if then, right, let's try it on. You don't do it. You don't do the work, and you force a relationship because you're just alone. You're scared of being alone. You never want to be alone again, and you just force yourself into a relationship. You end up having a kid with this person and beginning a family and getting stuck essentially in this unit because there's a child now involved, and that's never a great model to raise the child in, because it's likely that the relationship might end because it was never really destined to be a whole relationship, a fulfilled relationship. And that sets the model for the kid to then have dysfunctional relationships later on because they never had any sort of examples to follow, and then you get your needs met through your child, and that's unfair because your child's needs, getting your needs met through your child is not your child's problem, that's your problem. And getting your needs met through your children is kind of messed up. Let's be honest, it's kind of fucked up. And that's what happens, and you just perpetuate that cycle, and that child grows up, repeats it, and does your mistakes, and then does all that. And the worst thing to have is to see I don't know, I haven't got kids, but I'm trying it on, and it sounds pretty freaking terrible for even anyone else that I know, let alone my own child, to go through the same things I did. That's rough. That's really unfair too. Because you should be able to give them the tools to avoid those mistakes. But in fact, you're giving them the mistakes. because you haven't sat with yourself to get to know you. So the bigger picture is it's really unfair on the people around you for you not to do the work. And inside, you need to be content with being alone. You need to be able to be alone for a long period of time and be fully okay with that. Be okay with the fact that you don't have to be in a relationship. You don't have to be connecting with people and distracting yourself. You should. Connection is really good, but you shouldn't be chasing it to fulfill you because you're empty or broken. That's not what you need. For sure, fulfill your connection needs. That's fine. You can do that through family. You can do that through connecting with your craft. There's plenty of ways you can get connection. But chasing a relationship for the sake of not being alone is a bullshit reason to be in a relationship. It's unfair on the person you're with, even though they're probably doing the same thing, but it's still unfair because you should know better. You should be bringing all of what you can to the relationship, and you're not. You're not bringing it because you're lacking some pieces. Because you suppressed them, you've misplaced them. So dig in there, dive in, find out where it comes from, find out where their feelings of being alone stem from, solve those things, come to terms with it, process it, share it with people around you so that you can then start growing as an individual, write it in a diary, do what you need to do and get those results. Feel more whole in you, feel like you matter more, feel like you're lovable for one, like you are lovable. Feel like, create that sense of progress within you and that you matter, and build some emotional stability, so that your emotional mastery, so you can be stable and you can handle those interactions and you can handle what life throws at you, so that you know that being alone is not going to kill you. You're not going to die. You're not any less significant because you're alone. You're just alone. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So go in ahead with this information. Whatever I've ranted a bit. It was a bit deep. It was a bit hard. It was a bit fast. It was slow. I've had a bit of a up and down here, and I want to know what you thought. And if you watch my episodes, you're going to always hear me say, I want to know what you thought, because I genuinely do. I genuinely do want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you're liking. I want to know what you're you're loving. I want to know what you're hating. I want to know what stuff isn't relevant and what I can do to improve, or other topics I can talk about that you want to know about, because I want to know. I genuinely do. I genuinely want to know. So please tell me. And like the video, subscribe, comment, share, send this to somebody. Find someone in your list who is a serial relationshipist and send it to them. And then when they get to the end of the video, they'll know that that's the reason you sent it to them, because I told them. So don't blame the messenger, all right? If you're watching this video because your friend sent this to you, feedback. Take it on board. Sit with yourself. Do it now. Don't wait. Waiting's for chumps. Sometimes waiting's good. So that's been it there. I think I've covered everything I want to talk about here. I bet you'll watch it back and be like, I missed a bit there. There's plenty in that. There was nuggets of gold all through that. You should really take some time to process this information. And again, tell me what you like, you love, what you hated. And maybe some of your experiences. And like, share, comment, subscribe, share. I said share twice there. Follow, that was the one I was looking for. Do one of them, do a couple. If you can do them all, I love you. Brilliant. In fact, do them all and message me and say, I just did all of them. Oh, incredible. Make my day. Or just do one. It's great. It would help all of the platforms that I'm on. It helps algorithms and helps me keep making content, because I know what ones to make and what not to make. So go ahead. This has been the Jesse Dawson podcast, another episode, another tale, and I trust you've enjoyed. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime sleeping, your dreams. Have a great dream, and whatever flavour you want to go with it. Be yourself. All right, I'm out.